What's going on? I came across this video that I wanted to check out. It's from Jason Whitlock Clips, and the title reads, Nikola Jokic wants out of Denver. And when I saw Andy Griffith and Barney Fife here, frickin' frack, Marv and goddamn, I don't know who the other dude's name was on Home Alone. Yeah, with these two idiots. When I saw them, I definitely wanted to see what they were talking about in regards to Nikola Jokic, because I know that 10 times out of 10, fuck 9 times, 10 times out of 10 is going to be some bullshit. Let's get right into it, man.
Mentioned the Denver Nuggets and firing Michael Malone. And that has somehow sparked rumors that Nikola Jokic may want to exit Denver and could somehow end up with the Lakers. But so anyway, before we get to that part, let's just address.
Man, I swear to God, bro. If this nigga somehow ends up with the Lakers, if Nikola Jokic somehow ends up with the Lakers, like, come on, man. And LeBron is still playing now. If LeBron is gone, that'd be different. I wouldn't care. I don't really care now. But the only thing that I'm looking at if he goes to the Lakers is, seriously, LeBron, now you playing with, it's already crazy you playing with Luka Doncic. I'm just still like, now this nigga's playing with Luka Doncic. Oh my God, nigga. This motherfucking wheel just keeps turning. And nobody acts like there's anything wrong with this shit. But anyway, if you end up playing with Nikola Jokic as well, bro, get your ass out of here, bro. You are not the greatest ever. You already aren't, man. But you just keep burying yourself in your argument for the greatest ever. Like every time something like that happens, man. If this actually happens, that's crazy to even hear or even think about. This motherfucker thinking about going to the Lakers. This shit's crazy, man.
Yes. Michael Malone, I think 2 years ago, won the NBA title and has this team in title or playoff contention this year without really a number two to Nikola Jokic. How does he get fired? What is it? Maybe here's I do have a possible scenario there. They say that him and the general manager,
Man, hold on. Before he start talking about all that bullshit, the man got fired because he wasn't getting the job done, and he was starting to decline. His coaching and their success was starting to decline. It took him 8 years. Yes, he just won a championship 2 years ago, but it took him 8 seasons to get there. And he didn't make the playoffs his first 3 seasons as their head coach. And yeah, he may be their winningest coach and all that bullshit. But this is your NBA. This is you guys' NBA. And that's how it is, man. Coaches start slipping, they got to get the fuck out of here. And that's what he was doing. Now, I don't agree with him being fired. They didn't let him finish the season out. That's crazy. There must be some beef behind that. But that's crazy, man. Mike Malone finished, I want to say that the Nuggets finished 5th or 6th. Or maybe I'm tripping. But the Nuggets finished at like 5th. Let's just say 5th. And I'll double check. But last year they finished 2nd, and the year before that when they won the championship, they finished 1st. And like I said, they lost in the second round of the playoffs last season to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And they continue to decline. So yes, Mike Malone had to get the fuck up out of here, man. And there's nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong with Calvin Booth, but we'll get there.
Calvin Booth couldn't stand each other, talked behind each other's back, and so sometimes ownership says you have a possible scenario there. They say that him and the general manager, Calvin Booth, couldn't stand each other, talked behind each other's.
Listen to this fat hoe ass nigga. They say over here gossiping and shit. Shut your bitch ass up, man.
Back, and so sometimes ownership says, hey, I got a GM and a coach that can't get along. I'm not going to decide who's right and who's wrong here. I'm just going to move on from both of them. Maybe that's what happened here. Your thoughts?
Yeah.
Before this cornball goes, the Nuggets finished 4th this season. 50 games on the season. They won 57 last year. More than that the year before, I believe. Or maybe they won 53 the year before that. And they pretty much had the same team minus a few players. And like I said, we'll get there as well. And the addition of Russell Westbrook. But we'll get there as well. But yeah, the Nuggets finished 4th in the West this season. And that's really not saying anything because them, the Clippers, all have the same record. Minnesota not far behind at all. And they're not really far from Houston. So number 2 through number 6 in the West are pretty much the same team. So that's really not saying anything. If you were really a good team, you would have separated yourself from that bunch. See, that's called mediocrity or being mediocre. There's nothing special about the Nuggets team right now, and that's because of the coaching and because he doesn't preach defense. Because defense is the Nuggets' problem, and it starts with coaching. And another problem of his, he has the ball in Nikola Jokic's hand too much. And he's over here worried about Nikola Jokic getting the MVP instead of fucking coaching wins and coaching defense. And worried about Nikola Jokic having the ball so he can win the MVP. Instead of involving more of the team and the people that should be making plays like Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, maybe Christian Braun, allowing those players to have the ball in their hand more and make decisions more. And there's nothing wrong with Russell Westbrook either. There's nothing wrong with Nikola Jokic's teammates. All these motherfuckers average double figures. Especially the ones that play a lot or play the most. Everybody on the Nuggets team averaged Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic, Christian Braun, Jamal Murray averages 21 points a game. What more do you need? You need a coach that's going to preach defense and get the ball out of Nikola Jokic's hands so much. And yeah, I guess you're sharing that motherfucker because you're getting assists, but still, bro, you got the ball in your hand too much. You don't need to be making plays and assists. You need to be playing some goddamn defense and blocking some shots. And establishing yourself on the interior so you're not clogging the perimeter up, always on the perimeter or high post. But this isn't real basketball. And that's the reason why he's able to get away with the shit he does, and that Mike Malone allowed him to do the shit that he did. The fuck out of here, man.
First of all, Jason, this is absolute idiocy, again, by ownership. But just as it relates to what happened to Michael Malone in particular, I mean, in sports and, I mean, in society in general, we seem to go a little too far, I think, with the way we're describing certain events that we're seeing in the moment. Saying this is shocking, unprecedented, I mean, it's really underselling it. This is tied for it's the latest that a coach has been fired in NBA history. And Hubie Brown, I believe, was fired at the same time with 3 games left. But Hubie Brown was like 31-48 when he was relieved of his position. Michael Malone is literally 2 years removed from winning an NBA championship. He's been there for 10 years, and his record overall comes out to about 49 wins per season. So this guy's been winning 50 games a year on average for you. He just won the NBA championship last year. They've made the playoffs 6 years. And for him to be fired 3 games out is unequivocal madness on behalf of the ownership. Now, Calvin Booth, they needed to get his bum self removed from there. And it's probably 2 years too late on.
Man, Mike Malone was slipping, man. Like I said, most of those players that play for the Nuggets right now, not all, but most, have come up under Mike Malone only. They've only played for Mike Malone. He has not been preaching deep. I don't give a fuck what's been going on in the locker room, him having problems with whoever. That's not the reason. The reason why they are trash is because they do not play any defense. And Nikola Jokic has the ball in his hands too much. That's the reason. And he plays absolutely no defense and doesn't even play hard. That's the reason why Mike Malone was fired. And there's nothing wrong with Calvin Booth, but let's hear what this cornball has to say. Calvin Booth has brought in good players throughout the years. That's allowed Coach Malone to be so successful. So I don't understand what the fuck was the firing of Calvin Booth for. It seems like a good GM to me. Because the Nuggets have a good team. They just need a good coach to get them the most out of them, especially defensively. If they're even capable of doing that, bro.
That front, Jason, because the reason why the Nuggets have been failing, they were on a 4-game losing streak when they made the decision ultimately to let both go. The reason they've been failing is because the roster construction on this team is lousy, it's pathetic, and it's quite frankly embarrassing. A player like Nikola Jokic to have surrounded him with what he has been surrounded with now into his 10th.
Get the fuck out of here. There's nothing wrong with that team. And I knew he was going to say some stupid shit like that. He hasn't even explained why the team, what's so wrong with the team. He hasn't explained that or said anything about that. He didn't say, oh, they're a poorly constructed team and this, and this, and such is here is this, and he's doing this and this. Because you can't say that. The last video I did in regards to this situation, I pointed out there's in regards to points per game, mainly is what I wanted people to focus on because they don't play any defense. None of them average steals or blocks. I think Christian Braun averages 1 steal. I think Russell Westbrook may average 1 steal, but I don't think so. And I know Jamal Murray averages 1 steal. The rest of the team, no steals, no blocks. Especially Nikola Jokic, no blocks. And should be averaging more rebounds. So there's nothing wrong with the roster. He's just saying this shit to justify his Nikola Jokic's dick being in his mouth and him thinking that Nikola Jokic is a top 5 center ever or top 20 player ever. Man, if you don't get the fuck out of here with that shit. Nikola Jokic, like I said, under real basketball circumstances, especially if we put him in the 80s or 90s, 2000s, this nigga would be Luke Longley, like I said, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, or goddamn Arvydas Sabonis. Good players, but not considered dominant by any stretch of the imagination, and definitely not a fucking MVP. The fuck out of here. He's a good player, yes. Especially on a good team like the Nuggets. They need to get the fucking ball out of his hands so much and involve more people in regards to offensively. Now, I know they all average double figures, and it seems like they're sharing the ball and shit like that, yeah. But Nikola Jokic has the ball in his hands too much. And that is the reason, just because they're all averaging double figures, yeah, and he has the help, and they have the team to do it. They're doing it the wrong way. And that's why they're not successful. On top of that, they don't play any defense. They need a whole new offensive structure and some defensive structure. Both individual defense and team defense. They need to learn and practice.
Season. Jason, he's going to be in his 11th year next year. He's turning 31 next year. And this is what this guy has to deal with. A historical, generational player. He's the on-court intangible, statistical output, etc., will have you believe that this guy is a top 10 all-time player, a fringe top 10.
These niggas would be over here talking about Anthony Davis like he's just some old motherfucker and it's just over for him. But him and Anthony Davis are pretty much the same age. This dude is 31. Anthony Davis just turned 32. You see the hypocrisy in these motherfuckers, man? Motherfuckers be talking shit about Anthony Davis just because his injuries. That some shit really he can't control at the end of the day. I ain't making no excuses for him. But you can't control getting injured, bro. If you could, you wouldn't, I'm sure. You wouldn't get injured if you could control that shit. But they be talking about Anthony Davis like he old and shit because he's 31, 32, just turned 32 in March. But this motherfucker is 31 years old too. And I always been saying that Anthony Davis wasted a lot of his prime playing with the Lakers and LeBron James. And what he's saying is, what he's about to say is pretty much the same shit, basically. He's 31 and all this shit. And he's getting it. He's still in his prime and all that. So is Anthony Davis. That's the shit I was trying to, that's the point I was trying to drive in those previous videos that I did a while back. I erased a lot of them, like I said before. But it just kills me how motherfuckers is just, motherfuckers is crazy, boy.
Are right now probably matriculating in the direction of getting into that top 10. And he just simply has no help, no supporting cast at all. They have systematically let all of the players go, the veterans that helped them acquire that championship, players like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Jeff Green, Bruce Brown, all let go for...
Yeah, they had, and that's who I forgot, Jeff Green. My last video, that's the person that I failed to name. They had Reggie Jackson, they had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Jeff Green. All players now that have gotten older since. So yes, it was right to let them go, bro. And the Nuggets were straight. Again, it is Mike Malone and his leadership as to why they started slipping. Yeah, they won with those veteran players. Definitely Jeff Green, Reggie Jackson, like I said, I don't know who the other dude, he said Bruce somebody. I don't know who the fuck he's done. Bruce Brown or some shit. And then, yeah, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. That's really the only person they should have tried to keep. But everybody else, yeah, they needed to go. They were getting old. That's what a good GM does and finds newer players to bring in. They may have trouble doing that. And I honestly think the Nuggets need another big man. They don't need any more guards or forwards. They need another big man or a power forward type of big man that can help Nikola Jokic on the interior. That's what they need. That's what they're missing, in my opinion. So, and like that picture that they just showed of him Walker Kessler guarding Nikola Jokic, that's who they should get. Walker Kessler would be perfect. So in my opinion, that's what they're missing. But yeah, man, those players would have shut your ass up, man. Those players would have been old. Jeff Green, I think he plays for the Rockets right now, not really doing anything for them. Not like he was a couple years ago for the Nuggets. So he would have been old by now, been wasting space. Reggie Jackson, there would have been no room for him with the roster they have now. Kentavious Caldwell Pope, you probably should have kept him, and damn near, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't have roster space for him either, man. He's kind of getting older as well. But he's still a good veteran player, in my opinion, that could have helped them. If you have Russell Westbrook, you could have kept Kentavious Caldwell Pope. But, yeah, man, fuck out of here. There's nothing wrong with their roster, man. That's it. It's the coaching, the leadership. That's why Mike Malone got fired, and it was rightfully so.
Calvin Booth and these draft picks that he's made, he's trying to build a young team, and none of the draft picks are panning out. So that's pretty much been the infighting between him and Malone. Malone refuses to play these young players, and Booth is just doubled down on them, and the whole roster is imploding. Calvin Booth gave Jamal Murray a $210 million extension in the summer. That hasn't even triggered yet. This guy can barely play 50 games a year. He's hardly ever available in the playoffs, and they haven't even triggered that 4-year extension yet that takes place this upcoming year. This is what Nikola...
I don't think Nikola Jokic has played 82 games in a season his whole career. But he definitely hasn't played 82 games in a season in a long time. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like I said, if Jamal Murray isn't playing because he's injured, he can't control that. Now, if the Nuggets want to pay him, which they should, because he's a good player, and he's one of the players that's helped carry the Nuggets. Because without Jamal Murray, the Nuggets wouldn't have been as successful as they have been in recent years. I don't give a fuck about what Nikola Jokic is doing. Jamal Murray has been a big part of that, a big piece and a big part of that picture as well. And when they need a big bucket or they need a big play, they go to Jamal Murray. They put the ball in Jamal Murray's hands. So get the fuck out of here, man. And no, Nikola Jokic has never played 82 games in a season. In his 10 years, never played 82 games. The most he's played is 80 his first year, and his 5th year. Outside of that, never even touched 80 games again. Fuck out of here.
Jokic is working with, and now this amateurish circus stunt by the Kroenke family to fire the only coach he has known, Nikola Jokic, 10 years in the league, 10 years with Michael Malone, 3 games out before the playoffs. It's unequivocal madness, like I said, and I am totally opposed to players demanding trades and the team movement and the roster stacking. Nikola Jokic has every right to demand a trade at the end of this season, which is probably going to end in the first round.
For most of my adult life, I've struggled with my health, feeling sore and low.
Man, shut your ass up, man. That motherfuckers kill me with it every time something goes wrong. They want to get traded and all this shit. The fuck out of here. He don't need to get traded. He keep his ass there and give the goddamn ball up.
This is my hack for creating professional...
The fuck out of here. They want him to be on some LeBron James shit now. It's bad when LeBron James do it, but when Nikola Jokic does it, it's all right.
Relief factor.
Watch Kroenke. Let me just before I turn it over to you, because yes, Calvin Booth, idiot. Jamal Murray, undeserving of the contract that he has, only because Calvin Booth was in his place. But ultimately, the king idiot.
Listen to this hating ass, corny ass punk calling motherfuckers idiots. But Mike Malone isn't an idiot. He want to skip. He want to skip over Mike Malone. And it seemed like he wants to skip Mike over. He wants to skip over Mike Malone because he's white. But he can't wait to call the black man an idiot. That's just where I think he comes from with a lot of his shit, man. But he can do what he wants. He can say what he wants. He can think how he wants. But I think a lot of times when he speaks in regards to basketball, it's just him wanting to take a shot at a black man and say some crazy shit about a black man, or in regards to a black man. I don't think it has anything to do with sports, actually, bro. Because all the shit he tears down LeBron for it, he's sitting here advocating for Nikola Jokic to do. And he in the same arguments that people give to LeBron, they give to Nikola Jokic. But it's not a problem because it's Nikola Jokic. Come on now. They blame LeBron's teammates. Same thing they do with Nikola Jokic. And his coaches, same thing they do with Nikola Jokic. When this was his coach, actually, this time. But still. They're doing it, but in a different way. And honestly, I think Mike Malone's on Nikola Jokic's nuts. So I don't really believe that Nikola Jokic wanted him to go. But now it's the teammates' fault, and he doesn't have a good enough roster around him. And it was okay. See, he don't want to say, how is it okay to fire the GM but not the coach? The GM is bringing in the players. The coach has to motivate them and coach them up to be all they can be. So how are you gonna blame the GM and not the coach? Because he white. That's the only reason why this dude be talking shit, man. Swear to God, he don't know shit about basketball. Anything. He just wants to get on here and talk shit about black dudes. Now he's talking about, well, Nikola Jokic has every right to go. Hey, he has every right to leave. Yeah, he does. Well, why would he do that? If he's the best player in the league, one of the greatest player ever, the best player in NBA right now, why would he do that? That's that LeBron shit, man. But it's okay. It's okay for Nikola Jokic to do it. Kevin Durant do it. LeBron do it. It's a problem. And it is. But we know why he's calling out the problem, or why he wants to make it, or why it's so important to him, I guess. Or whatever I'm trying to say. But let's go. Let's move on.
Jason, is Josh Kroenke. I want to give him a shout out. Josh Kroenke, this moron, president of basketball operations for the Nuggets. He's the son of Stan Kroenke and Ann Walton, who amassed, a major sports conglomerate. His father, Stan, and his mother, Ann, comes from the Walmart fortune. So we have this entitled, petulant little brat who has achieved nothing in his entire life, born with a silver spoon, gets given this job, Josh Kroenke, shout out to you, and has now destroyed the prime of a top 10 all-time NBA player in Nikola Jokic.
Top 10 all time. Get the fuck out of here, man. Yeah, you and your feelings about this shit. Shut the fuck up. The motherfucker got fired. And they fired the GM. There was nothing wrong with the team outside of the coaching. That's the only motherfucker that needed to be fired was Mike Malone. GM was bringing in good players, constructing good teams. Mike Malone was the one that couldn't coach them up, especially on defense. Then his offensive scheme sucked because it only involves it only centers around one person. The other players just so good, for real, that they're able to be halfway decent. So please shut the fuck up. And there was nothing wrong with this team prior to this leg of the season, this last leg of the season since February, I would say. There was nothing wrong with this team. Everybody was celebrating this team. There was nothing wrong with Russell Westbrook. When I did a video, that's how I know for a fact. They were praising Russell Westbrook and everything was all good. I did a video that, like I said, since I've erased. I had like over 500 videos at one point where I talked about how the Nuggets were excited about having Russell Westbrook because when he's in the game, it adds speed to the game and they're able to get quicker, faster points, either on the fast break or just getting into their offense quicker with Russell Westbrook. And there was a topic on a video that I was looking at, and they were talking about, should Russell Westbrook be starting over Jamal Murray and have Jamal Murray come off the bench and he can just focus on scoring more and start Russell Westbrook because he gets the offense going. That was the subject because that's what was going on at the time. And this had to be in January at that point when they were talking about this. So there was nothing wrong with Russell Westbrook. There was nothing wrong with the Nuggets until this last stretch of the season. And that's because, you might say Mike Malone probably lost the team and lost the locker room. But at the same time, a lot of their bad habits have just caught up with them, man. No defense, ball in Nikola Jokic's hands too much. The coach doesn't really care about playing defense and doesn't care about anything else other than Nikola Jokic getting the MVP. It just all started to show. So that's what happened. Nothing wrong with the team, man. And it's funny how he wasted the prime of a top 10 player. Nikola Jokic is definitely not top 10. He's not even top 20 all time. The fuck out of here. If has one championship, yeah. One finals MVP, yeah. 3 MVPs. Get the fuck out of here. Only in this era will he be able to do the shit that he's done. But then, he's wasting his prime. But Anthony Davis wasn't wasting his prime with the Lakers, huh? Get the fuck out of here.
If I were him, I would say this offseason, enough is enough. Move me now. I will never play. I've played my last game, whenever that is, probably, like I said, in the first round this year of the playoffs.
Scap, I'm not done with you. I'm just taking a moment. I got to take a cigarette break, a smoke that was so good that, I just have to take a moment to. I'm not taking a break, guys. I'm just, pretending to smoke a cigarette right now. That was really, really good. And so I have a follow-up to that. Okay, Calvin Booth, Michael Malone, who's responsible? Who wanted Russell Westbrook?
There's some background going on today.
Here we go.
That at heart of one of the feuds going on between the front office and coaching was involving Russell Westbrook's playing time. And quite frankly, Nikola Jokic, who has very little input in this on the inner workings of this team and on what the roster